I'm David Volk, a voice of the resistance, albeit a strange and silly one. Today's post, I go into the Wayback Machine for worst company names ever. Is this really the best you could come up with? Let's face it, sometimes, no matter how smart people are, they make stupid mistakes when they name their companies or products, and not just teeny tiny errors like giving your company, a 3-word name that has an unfortunate acronym like American Self-Storage. No, we're not talking huge honking mistakes that would make even Clues kids want to bury their heads in embarrassment. Unfortunately, that one decision is often the standard by which businesses end up being judged by an uninformed public, because the business owner presumably spent a lot of time thinking about it at a time when they weren't inundated with work from crowds of customers because they weren't open yet. And yet they still came up with that name. Of course, there are times when the name isn't a mistake until times change or something unrelated but still terrible happens to cast the name in a bad light. But by then it's too late, because consumers are a rather judgy lot who favor sound bites over long-winded explanations. Here are just a few modest examples of business names gone horribly, terribly wrong. California Fried Chicken. On the surface, there's nothing seemingly wrong with the name of this chicken restaurant in a highly touristed area of Bali, Indonesia. It's just that the owners decided to make the first letter of each word so much larger than all of the other letters that from a distance, the name looks like CFC Chicken. And I don't know of anyone who wants chlorofluorocarbons, which are associated with global warming and ozone depletion, in their poultry. 2. Chimo pierogies. Why is so much of the weirdness associated with California anyways? Like this California company that sells tasty frozen dumplings, but hasn't made a big name for itself because most people don't seem to want a brand whose name sounds like a cancer treatment. Just imagine yourself going into a restaurant and saying, "Waiter, I'd like an order of potato and onion chimo pierogies, please." That's 2. Number 3, AIDS. For many years, you could find this chocolate candy on the shelves of drugstores across the country. The company described it as an appetite suppressant candy that dieters could eat so that they wouldn't want to eat anything else, I guess. It was so ubiquitous that my dad even sold it in his pharmacy. Then came the AIDS crisis, and that was all she wrote for this not-so-sweet treat. 4. Chevy Nova. In North America, Novas were quite popular. In Spanish-speaking countries, not so much, because the name literally translated into "it doesn't go." Corona Beer. Although this brand of beer survived the pandemic, it was nip and tuck there for a while when the mysterious illness killing so many people in 2019 was called a coronavirus. I don't know how the company survived. Either they sacrificed a lot of chickens or there were a lot of drunk people who really didn't care. Next, SARS Soda. Those initials might not mean much to you now, SARS, but back when bird flu was an illness that swept through Asian countries, killing several thousand people, it was also called Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome, or SARS. Not too surprisingly, the name didn't help sales at this Taiwanese soft drink company. It managed to stay afloat by changing its name to Haesong Sarsaparilla. I could go on and include the erasable pen that accidentally advertised that it prevented pregnancy and the soft drink that brings your dead ancestors back to life. But that's another story for another time. I've been David Volk, a voice of the resistance, albeit a strange and silly one.